1935. Taf Resh Tzadei He. But this is Kapilovich.
This is yours, right?
Moshe Zalman ben Avraham.
Oh no, it's Moshe.
Aaron, it's not clear. But it's Elul Taf Resh Tzadei He, which is 1935. This is Haisha Chashuva Bune Etet. But Betzalel something. Also Taf Resh Tzadei He, which is not Vav, rather 1936.
Betzalel Yaakov.
Betzalel Yaakov. Nachon, that's right.
Buna Eta Bas Betzalel Yaakov. Nefter.
Malka Bat Pinchas Leb. Taf Resh Tzadei He, which is 1935. Adar.
Well, first of all, it's municipality because it's recent cemetery, it's open cemetery. If somebody happens to die here, he would be buried, June, he would be buried here.
Shlomik.
So it's municipality takes care of the acting cemeteries.
Imano Yikar Michle Bat Shlomo Shlomik, born in 1868, died in
the 11th day of, I think it's
the 19th of Av, and it's 1935. Haisha Golda Marka Muntz or something, Bat Yaakov something. All these are 1930 type graves here. Yehuda Leb ben Yoshua Zelig Schmid. It's not clear the date. Eliakim Meir ben Chaim Glickman died the 6th of Elul in the year Taf Resh Tzadei Vav 1936. Okay, we're back in Kovna, and this building we're looking at here in front of the buses on Bershtonos, opposite the old city, it was a synagogue. There were so many buildings that were synagogues, it was unbelievable. Just to give you an idea of where we are, we're now looking down Vilnagas into the old city. Here we are looking down Laishves Aliyah, which is the promenade, shall we say, of Kovna. It's trees all the way up and down from the beginning of the old city, all the way in the other direction to a Russian basilica. And where we are specifically here is right, there's a little underpass off to the right where the Hausman Shul is off of Mironio Street, and where the archives are. We'll just see if I can pan. Yeah? We'll pan just, we'll go in the other direction. This is again looking up towards the church at the other end. Most of these shops were owned by Jews before, and they're finding it out by going back to the property records before people can reclaim their property now, whether in fact they're Lithuanian citizens. What we're looking at here is a 1902 restoration plan after a fire for New Zagare, and you have the plan itself with the numbers of all the houses, and then here you can see here, actually it says 1913, not 1902.
No. Yes, that's it. So, that should be the date, 1909. He was simply brought to some official institution. Well, it took a very long time to make a plan and to make it valid and to start building according to it.
Here we're looking at the names of the people and the numbers of the houses. and Vitaly, you say that there are a lot of plans like this.
Well, there are plans, but it's no system. For some places they just keep correspondence on planning the towns. For some places they give the plan itself.
But it's a source worth trying to check.
Yes. For example, there is a very good plan of Drisverte. It is near Breslau, the same region, but not a plan like that for Breslau. It's just like sometimes it's very large.
Here we are right outside the old city, I guess a little to the north, off of what is today St. Gertrude. This is one of the former 3 Hasidic shuls, and since the Hasidim here were Lubavitchers, it means that this was probably a Lubavitcher shul. I'm just going to now turn in the direction. We're looking east now. This is the St. Gertrude's, and then down Boston Street, which is here, and in that direction here you see the old city. Here we are. This is Daugshus 9 and Daugshus Yakivaplatz 8. And this also was there was a shul here. The apartment where I stayed, for example, is right next to where the open door is. You can see how it is. Now we're looking up Daugshus Street. Most of the street, Yakivaplatz, on both sides of the thing, most of the people on both sides here were Jews, and there were synagogues in the further up. And here we're just looking in the other direction of Yakivagos, Daugshus today, as it's called. Down at the end there is where the river is, and right off to the left is Schwabe, which was one of the Hebrew gymnasium, the one where Dov Levine, for example. Here we have at 29A Daugshus Yakivaplatz inside a courtyard, what clearly was a synagogue. The architecture with the high windows is almost always exclusively Jewish. And we'll walk around it. This is the same synagogue at 29A Yakivaplatz or Daugshus today, from the other side. As you can see that it is in part of a courtyard. All these areas there are courtyards where people go in and out. And there are all sorts of walkways between things. This area was almost completely Jewish. It was not a ghetto. This was the house we were just looking at, and it goes out into the street here, which is this Yakivaplatz. And this is the other end of Yakivagos, Daugshus Gas, looking as the numbers go down in the direction of the city. On the right behind me is St. Gertrude's, or what apparently was Lukshul Gatve before. Most of this area was almost completely Jewish. Here is Mapu Street, named after Avraham Mapu, the great, the first Hebrew novelist, a part of the Haskalah tradition. And again, down this street also were Jews. This is one street west of Yakiva Place. And we're going to go down here. There were synagogues on the street as well. And here on Maple Street, it's now number 18, is the public library, which is, again, from the architecture, is very clearly, we know it was a shul as well. And here is the same building, the shul, from the other direction, looking down towards Lukshos or St. Gertrude's. Mapu 18 today, I think it was Mapu 10 then, and the name will be on the list. Now here we're looking at the corner of, it's Vilna Gas, number 14, the house in front of us, looking down towards the point where the two meet. And I'm photographing this because in the old city, this is also number 14. And since Dov said he lived there, we'll see what happens. We do know, however, that they have changed the numbering system a lot. Okay, here we are downtown. This is the, it's called City Hall Square, Rathaus Platz. And there were a lot of offices and things around here, but we're going to come around shortly to what I think is number 4. I only know that because number 2 is plain. And the building for number 4, which is this one here, was the Jewish office of the Jewish Community Center.